Are you trying to figure out which derailleur you need to replace the one on your bike? I've got good news for you. You're in the right place. There are 4 pieces of information you need to know to pick the right replacement derailleur. The number of speeds, the cassette range, total capacity, and the shifter compatibility. Now, if you think this sounds complicated, you're right. That's why we made this video. Don't worry though, we'll do our best to start from the beginning and keep things as simple as possible. The first step is as simple as can be. Just count the number of gears on your rear cassette. Derailleurs all have one speed or a range of speeds that they're meant to work with. The more speeds a drivetrain has, the narrower the chain gets, and the derailleur cage is designed to specifically work with that chain width. So as an example, our M26 rear derailleur is designed to work with 7 and 8 speed chains. Once you know how many speeds you're working with, you need to know the range of the cassette. You figure that out by counting how many teeth are on the biggest cog and how many teeth are on the smallest cog. Every derailleur is designed for a different cassette size, so you need to match the derailleur with the cassette you already have. Using M26 as an example again, it works with a 28 to 36 tooth big cog and an 11 to 12 tooth small cog. So, if your cassette is an 1134, that would work with M26's range. If your cassette is a 1242, M26 would not work because the largest cog is too large. If it's a 1334, M26 won't work because the smallest cog is too large. Next, simply count the teeth on the largest and smallest chainring on your crankset. It doesn't matter if you have a double or a triple chainring. If you have a triple, just don't count the middle chainring. If you have a single chainring, you can skip this step entirely. We need the chainring sizes to figure out how much total capacity your derailleur needs. Drivetrains with bigger ranges need a longer chain, and so then the derailleur needs a longer cage to take up the extra slack from all that chain. To calculate capacity, you'll need to do just a little bit of math. Sorry in advance. Start by taking the biggest cog on your cassette and subtracting the smallest cog. Big cog minus small cog is your cassette capacity. Then, take the biggest chainring on your crankset and subtract the smallest chainring. Big chainring minus small chainring is your chainring capacity. Add chainring and cassette capacity together, and you've got the total capacity your rear derailleur needs to work on your bike. If you have a single chainring, the cassette capacity is the same exact thing as the total capacity. We'll definitely need an example for this one. Let's say your bike has an 1132 cassette range. 32 minus 11 is 21. That's your cassette capacity. On the front, you've got a triple chainring. The biggest ring is 42 teeth and the smallest is 22. 42 minus 22 is 20. That's your chainring capacity. Chainring capacity plus cassette capacity is 21 plus 20. That gives you a 41 tooth total capacity. The M26 long cage derailleur has a 45 tooth capacity, so that would work just fine in this example. The M26 short cage derailleur, on the other hand, has a 39 tooth capacity, and that would not work. The last step in this process is to figure out your shifter's pull ratio. Shifters pull a specific amount of cable for each shift that they make, and the derailleur has to be compatible with that specific shifter pull to work properly. I'll be honest, this one can be a little bit tricky. We'll share some rules of thumb to help you get started, but if you get stumped, don't be too proud to take your bike into your local shop and ask them some questions. Let's start with Shimano. If you're replacing a Shimano derailleur, you basically need to know how many speeds it has and whether it's a mountain or a road system. Generally, if your bike has flat bars, it's a mountain system, and if it has drop bars, it's a road system. There are a few weird exceptions to this, but we won't get into those here. So if you have a Shimano 11-speed mountain system, your shifter will have a very specific cable pull, and you'll need a derailleur that's compatible with that. As an example, our XCD rear derailleur works with 11 speeds and has Shimano mountain cable pull, so it would work with your system. On the road side, there's one thing to watch out for. Shimano has 2 different cable pulls for 10-speed road bikes. If your bike has 10 speeds and a Tiagra rear derailleur, that has what we call new road cable pull. If it's 10 speed and has any other model of rear derailleur, it has what we call standard road cable pull. So, if you want to replace a 10-speed Tiagra rear derailleur with microSHIFT, you would need a Centos 10 rear derailleur. Okay, so that's Shimano. For SRAM, things are pretty simple. We don't make any SRAM-compatible rear derailleurs. Makes things really easy. Last but not least, Let's look at replacing microSHIFT derailleurs. Best practice is to just replace what you have with the same thing. When it comes to cable pull, we have two main categories, microSHIFT compatible and Shimano compatible. Advent X, Advent, and Acolyte all have a proprietary microSHIFT cable pull. What that means is if you have a Shimano 9-speed rear derailleur and you want to replace it with an Advent 9-speed rear derailleur, you would have to buy a new shifter too. Your existing Shimano 9-speed shifter wouldn't be compatible with the Advent rear derailleur. So to sum up, there are 4 things you need to know when replacing a derailleur: the number of speeds, the cassette range, total capacity, and the shifter compatibility. Match that info up with the specs on the rear derailleur and everything should work just fine. Last thing, this was a long, complicated explanation. Let us know in the comments if it made sense to you. Do you like videos like this? Want to see something different? Let us know, and thanks for watching.